feel like Brady in New England. Season 6.
All right. What up there, guess?
Ready.
All right, guys. Answers by guess. We are back and in effect here, buddy. I'm excited. Fantasy football is here.
Yeah.
It's here.
The offseason aged me.
Did it?
So it was a rough season. You remember our final show, season 5 last year. I was quite distraught, made some mistakes. I pondered hard and long. I'm ready to repent for those.
All right, let me just make sure that I have this shared to the group, bud. Bear with me one sec here. All right, so talk about it. Let's go.
Yeah, man, if you're watching us for the first time, we're not your average fantasy advice center, as it says. Got a pretty good track record. We're outside the box. We're the inside scoop from outside the box. And, I mean, even tonight, I got a couple things planned. Some people posted some questions. And I'm going to say some things that are going to shock a couple people. And I don't know. We'll see. But, last year, to go back to that final video where I talked about my biggest mistake, I wanted to take Jonathan Taylor at number 5. I passed. And if I would have done that, I think I would have at least placed first, second, or third. Maybe could have won. So I'm just going with it. I'm going with my gut. I mean, that's why we started this show. Because the guess, it works.
I love it, man. Always ebbs and flows. Love it. Remember, guys, follow us: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. All right.
If you're here, say what's up. Like the video, comment something. We got to bump this up. We need more people in here getting this advice. We got a lot of people who've been here for years. They're doing well because of it. Bump it, like it, love it, comment, laugh, cry, do whatever you want.
Braden, what's up, bud? Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. You know what? I think we're going to have a lot of good shows, a lot of good info, as we always do, making sure that you guys are winning your leagues. Guess, do you want to go into the randoms first and just get them going, or do you want to update and tell us what changes we have for answers by guess this year?
Yeah, we might as well do that real quick. I mean, we're going to change the format a little. As you can see, our intro's a little different. Hopefully you caught it. If you didn't, when the video is over, when the show is over, go back and watch it. It'll be different each week. But it'll be just like that. And the format's going to be different. So what Rob and I are going to do, we talked about it. If you've been watching the show for years, we typically on Sunday or Saturday nights, sometimes we'd have to do it. We'd run through every single game. And we talk about every single game. And some people would stay to the end. Some people would leave. You'd ask questions. We'd go through the games. You never got your question answered. We want to help you most of all. So what we're going to do is we're going to pre-record all of the game talk. It's going to be me and him, not live. Same exact setup, intro, all that. But it's going to be recorded and posted to the group in Facebook. Probably shared to YouTube, TikTok, all that.
All that fun jazz.
Right. And so if you got a question about the Bengals playing the Browns, you can just click on the Bengals-Browns game talk about, and you can just watch that. And then Sunday will be live, and it'll be all about you. It'll be your questions. And if we have to, because of our schedules, record on, let's say, a Wednesday night, because Rob or I are not going to be free Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, then Sunday morning we'll do a quick update. Be like, well, you can't play this guy because he's hurt, so forget about what I said in the video. But it's going to be all about your questions Sunday morning when we do the live. So that's a big thing. And on top of that, because we're trying to streamline and be able to help as many people as possible, in the past we had been answering PMs ad nauseum, so many PMs, and then it would get to the point where I would miss some people's PMs, and then I don't know if it pissed them off, but it pissed me off because this is what I want to do. I want to help you. So we're not going to do the PMs. If you want to be part of the PM service, you got to join through Patreon. Sorry to have to do it that way, but we got to sort of whittle it down. But you can come on Sunday, watch the show, ask your question there. We'll answer every single question because the Sunday show is going to be just questions. We're not going to talk about the games one by one. That's all pre-recorded. You can watch that on the page, whatever social media platform you want to. So we're going to switch it up this year, do it that way, streamline everything more on demand. And as far as if you want info about a particular game, or on demand if you want an answer to your question, it'll be right there, answered on the spot. You won't have to wait for us to quit blabbering like I am right now.
And make sure, guys, we always talk through the group too. Remember, if we're not able to answer, there's a lot of great guys that are in the group as well. Invite your friends to be able to answer some of their questions if you have. And, obviously we tend to go through them and try to answer them, even if you guys have given your opinions as well. All right, let's go into the draft order. Let's get these going. First league is going to be for Fantasize Me.
Yeah. So I got a box, Fantasy Sports. Anybody collects cards knows what that is. This is like Series 1. This is old school. This is when it was good, 2006. Maybe it's Series 6. I don't know. But I got all this stuff in here. So what's going to happen is, in case anybody from Fantasize Me League is watching, I cannot see. So they're all folded, double folded. Herm chose pick number 1. He won the Constellation Tournament. So he gets to pick which number he wants, 1 through 14. He chose 1. So the first one I draw is going to be pick 2. And Rob, if you could write it down, and then I'll take it from you later. And that way it'll just go quicker. So here it is.
10-4, Captain.
Vito.
Oh, just joking. Good job, bud.
Pick 2. Ron D, pick 3. I'm a poet and I know to show it. There's Larry. That was Herm's card. Forgot to pick up index cards from work, so Larry's pick 3. And that's good. He's usually towards the end. Derek, new to the league, pick 4. Let's see what we got here. There I am, pick 5. Pick 5.
Pick 6.
Hopefully, or pick 6, whatever. Hopefully, one of the first few guys don't take the guy that I'm going to talk about tonight, taking at pick 2, if I had the chance. Pick 2. It'll surprise you all. Robert Wutcher, new to the league. We had a couple guys drop out this year. They've been in the league for 15 years. Life got them by the balls. That's okay. Rob, there you are.
Spot 8.
BC. Chad.
Oh, Mike is going to be pissed. He didn't want 11 through 14.
At the end is not bad. There's Mike.
Oh, there he is.
What did you get? 10?
11.
There we go. Shaw. SHAW. Ryan Maticio. He should be watching. Where's he at? He got so good. He got so good he doesn't even need to watch us anymore. Russ.
All right.
All right, on to the ABG.
Sweet deal. You don't want to run them down real quick again?
I'll get them from you after. Everybody's here for the ABG order and for questions and for
beautiful
our info. So let's go.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen here, guys. We're going to do it this way. Show everybody that they have their names. Landon, Braden, Dave, Sean, Hendrick, Kenny, Darko, Michael, myself, Guess, Nick H, Terrell, Jeremy, and Sips. Oh, you can't see it with that thing there, can you? Better. Everybody's names. All right. I'm going to click the button once. We're going to randomize it. That's it.
One time random.
One time. Whatever you get, you get. All right. This is the list here. I will make a copy of this.
There you are.
And I will post that later on as well, or you guys should watch the video.
Yeah.
All right. We're back in effect here. All right. Let's go through the divisions, guys. Let's get it started. Let's get the fun part going. All right. We're going with AFC East first. Your Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, my New York Jets, and the New England Patriots.
Yeah, so we're going to switch it up a little this year. We got 3 different categories. We want to go quick with this because we're hoping you all have a lot of questions. You might not. We don't want to chit chat too much because that's the flow we're going with this season. So we got 3 different categories now. Just because something is in a certain one of these doesn't mean that it's necessarily that. So we'll talk about it. Go ahead.
All right. The first one here is called In Play. These are your positives.
Yeah, I think Tua and Zach Wilson will be underdrafted, and that's what puts them in play. Because quarterback is often, either people claim they take them too soon, or people say you don't have to take them to the end. I feel like these are 2 guys. Zach Wilson, could very well be like close to a last rounder, depending on the size of your league. But he's got the weapons. And, if he didn't get hurt last year, I think he was trending pretty well. And Tua, we all saw what happened once Tua finally came back. And now he's got Tyreek. Gesicki is coming into form. He's hitting that. I think this is his 5th year. That's right. That's the sweet spot for tight ends. I think he came in late 2018.
That sounds right.
And he just has the weapons. And they got Chase Edmonds at running back. So I just think Tua and Zach Williams are 2 guys that I feel like are in play to maybe go and grab before too long, because I feel like they have great value, positive value.
Just to chime in on Zach Wilson real quick, just think of, from my perspective, Cincinnati, what happened with the second-year Burrow and a Jamar Chase and one of those younger guys. So, all right. Out of bounds. These are some negatives. We're kind of tiptoeing the line on some of these guys.
Yeah, nobody loves Damian Harris more than me. I talked about him years ago, going into last season, I believe it was. I was like, hey, people are forgetting about this guy. He's going to be a stud. He was pretty good. Drafted Stevenson. He's good, but that's a problem. They're both there. So they're out of bounds, a little bit of negative value, because we're back to that situation of Belichick and his running backs. And they're not the only 2 there. And there's going to be somebody that pops out of nowhere when one of them gets hurt or both of them gets hurt. And it's just going to be, I think, more of a headache. And if you're drafting up or trying to get one of them too soon, I feel like that could be a problem. I'm not at all against Damian Harris. I'm not at all against Ramondre Stevenson. I like them both. Problem is, I don't know which one I like better. So I'm not going to spend up for either one.
All right. Next category here is under review. We got some question markers on these guys.
Yeah, they got the rookie, James Cook. And everybody's so high on James Cook, but Singletary killed it towards the end of the year last year. As Zach Moss disappeared, Singletary was killing it. So he's somebody who right now I'm thinking about. They're under review. I like Singletary because not too many people are talking about him. The new kid in town, James Cook, probably will be getting drafted before him. But Singletary could be the one that outplays him, especially with Cook being his rookie season. He's got to pick up pass pro and all that stuff. And they love Singletary. So, he's somebody who you definitely want to put on your watch list, and don't just think, and this is a trend this year with running backs. It's not the only one I'm going to talk about this through this segment here. The rookies in town, don't forget about the old guys.
Like you're thinking, man. I'm actually thinking the same kind of way. Some vets are going to have some high value, I feel like, in my opinion, this year. All right. Next division here, the AFC North, your Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, and Pittsburgh Steelers. Who are we talking about is in play?
Demetric Felton. The Browns have lost all their wide receivers. I mean, yeah, they got Amari Cooper, but they need somebody to fill Jarvis Landry's shoes. And Felton is as much a wide receiver as he is a running back. And last year as a rookie, the couple of times he got in the field, he was electric. And then he fell behind. He fell behind Hunt and Chubb. And then, Dearness came to town and put him further back. And they're going to use him as a slot receiver. And you're going to be able to grab this guy if your drafts are early, very late. You could probably pick him up as a free agent right now. Anybody who's in the Dynasty League, our Dynasty League, watch it. You could grab him right now. I would not be surprised if at some point he gets the RB wide receiver slash, and you can put him in either one. He's going to line up at the slot for the Browns, and I think he's going to be electric.
All right, next one here.
He was a guesstimator last year, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct there, sir. Out of bounds, Jamar Chase. What are you, crazy, man? Everyone's up on Jamar Chase.
But here's the thing. Out of bounds, just like, in play, doesn't mean go out and get him, doesn't mean avoid him. Jamar Chase, we had it in our PM, and I was already thinking about this before somebody mentioned that in the PM. Talked about taking him like it's in the top 3 or something like that overall. I think he's going to be overdrafted. Would I take Jamar Chase? Would I want him on my fantasy team? Yes. If I wait past pick 5, 8, 10, 12, because that's where his ADP is right now, I believe, end of first round, first, second. Correct. Spot, sure. But I think he's going to be a little overdrafted. Is he worth every bit of it? Probably. But let's not forget about Boyd and Higgins. They got weapons. And I think Mixon is going to have a fine year. They're going to use Chris Evans a lot more than they did last year. I think Chase is going to have an amazing season. I just think he's going to be overdrafted. So where he's being talked about in the circles, not only the ABGPM that we have, but other places, I just think it's pushing a little far. Somebody mentioned it. I want to say it might have been Kenny. I'm not sure if it was Kenny, but somebody mentioned it. Like, if you take away the couple of the huge games he had, he really didn't have that great of a season. He had a couple of huge games.
Oh, yeah.
Is he ridiculous? Yes. But I'm worried a little bit of a step back because they're going to spread it around. Can anybody stop him? Maybe not. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just think he's being overdrafted. And that's why he's out of bounds for me.
All right. Just to chime in real bit, as far as Hayden Hurst being somebody, too, that may get some targets. I mean, remember, CJ was the big guy over there, too, for a little while during the season. Hayden Hurst isn't a pushover, especially if he's healthy. That could be another target that could Chase can lose some targets, too, I mean.
Yeah.
All right. Under review here, Josh Rosen.
Yeah, listen, Michael, I hope you're watching. I saw that he made a comment about, you don't even know why he signed him. We have Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett? Are you kidding me? You watch Josh Rosen over Jacoby Brissett. Have you watched Jacoby Brissett over the past couple seasons? Josh Rosen's looking to make a name for himself. Is he somebody you're going to go out and draft? No. But I'm telling you right now, if he becomes a starter week 1, you now have at least 6 games to watch and see. So he's under review for Superflex leagues, 2QB leagues. Let's just see how he does. He's got the pedigree. He had a terrible situation in Arizona. They kicked him out. Terrible situation in Miami. They kicked him out. Never really got a shot in Atlanta. They kicked him out. Let's see. He's under review.
Yeah, he was with Tampa Bay, too. Don't forget that for a little bit.
That's true. Yep.
All right. Let's go on here to the AFC South. All right, your Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans. A lot of in-plays I feel like you have here in this AFC South. Let's talk about them.
My favorite guy is that first one. Ladies and gentlemen, Dawn, if you're watching, because I know you like the tight end picks that I come up with here. Brevin Jordan. If you haven't heard the name, you will. Rookie last year. Dude's an absolute beast. I think Davis Mills, he was really good last year after his first couple games. Really good. Go back and look at his stats. The team was putrid, but he was good. And Before, what's his face? I can't think of the rookie's name that got hurt the other day. He's out for the year. It was looking like they had a pretty good, wide receiver thing. So now they got just Cooks and a couple of schmucks. Brevin Jordan's going to be that guy, and he's going to be a breakout tight end this year. And nobody's taking him yet. Nobody's talking about him yet. He's the breakout tight end, everybody. He is. And ETN, we know what he was last year, hurt, but everybody was so high on him. James Robinson got hurt. He's going to be a little slow coming back. They're not going to not use ETN. So he's somebody who I would grab a little sooner. Some people might over push on him, but some people forgot about him. So that's why you got to be like, everybody was really high on him last year, grabbing him before James Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
Now they forgot about him. So he might be somebody who might be in play to pluck. Laquan Treadwell, former number 5 draft pick. Trevor Lawrence loves him. And I think he's better than Marvin Jones. Don't they have Zay Jones too? Like come on. It'd be him and Christian Kirk with the top 2. Maybe Laviska will be in there, but Treadwell's already lighting it up in minicamp. And Dameon Pierce for the Houston Texans, Marlon Mack's not going to last. You know it. So he's your rookie running back that I would grab before the old guys. He's one. I have 2 of them, but he's one. So there's 4 names that are in play. If you weren't thinking about it, you should start thinking about it.
Answers by guess. Inside the scoop, outside the box. All right, out of bounds. Derrick Henry. You know what? I've been seeing kind of this is the 27-year-old running backs and so on and so forth. You know what? I kind of agree with you. Tell me why.
Yeah. He's a different animal. We can't categorize him with every single 27-year-old running back. But they drafted Hassan Haskins. And they did that much in the same that they drafted the other guy that we love that's now on the Bears. I can't think of his name right now. But he's gone. And he can never stay healthy. They are looking for somebody to take some food off of Derrick's plate. They're looking for somebody with a little burst to catch some passes to come in on third downs. And they have that with Hassan Haskins. So if he stays healthy, he's going to eat into Derrick Henry's workload. And I'm not taking him in the top 5.
Darrington Evans is the guy.
Darrington Evans, yep. And that's what they wanted Evans to be. And he just could never stay healthy. Even last year when he was going to have a shot, couldn't stay healthy. He's in Chicago now. We're not going to worry about him anymore. Hassan Haskins in there. Their wide receivers are decimated in Tennessee.
They sure are.
I mean, they got Burks, who's hurt. They got Woods, who's hurt. And then after that, they got nothing. So people are going to key in on Henry. Not that they could stop him, but Hassan Haskins is going to be a check down guy. He's going to take some off his plate. So just prepare for that. I'm not overspending on Henry. You do you, but I'm not.
All right. Under review, Alec Pierce.
Yeah, Alec Pierce, rookie wide receiver for the Colts. If you haven't heard his name, bit of a slot guy. That role is going to go to Paris Campbell, and rightly so, but he can't stay healthy. And if Alec Pierce has a good camp and a good preseason and Campbell skips a beat, stubs a toe, he's going to be a hot waiver wire claim. So write that name down. He's under review. He's somebody you should know about right now.
All right. Do you want to go to comments? Just keep on rolling through.
Keep going through because I'm going to answer some of these comments right here with this one.
Beautiful. AFC West. Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Las Vegas Raiders, and Los Angeles Chargers. All right, in play. I knew it. Jay Will, go for it.
DGAF is what I wrote down. IDGAF, all capitals. Alan Haynes, you're wondering who am I taking at number 2? I started off the show with a disclaimer. Said we're not your average fantasy thing, but we got a pretty good track record. I said my biggest mistake last year was wanting Jonathan Taylor at number 5 and then wussing out and not taking him. It ruined my entire season. If I had number 2 pick, I'm taking Javonte Williams. IDGAF. What I'm doing. What I'm doing. What I'm doing with Russell Wilson at quarterback and the wide receivers they have, it's what I'm doing. I don't care that Melvin Gordon's there. I'm taking him at 2, as early as 2. There's only one player I'm taking above him. You all know who it is. Don't even have to say his name because we don't talk about people that everybody else talks about. I'm taking Javonte Williams at 2. So I got the 5 pick. I got the 6 pick. You know who I'm taking and fantasize me in ABG. So if you want him, you better take him before I do. That's what I'm taking. I don't care. I don't care.
Dude, it's going to be crazy in Denver.
He's in play.
It is going to be very interessante. All right, out of bounds. A lot of people high on LBO and Austin Eckler. They've been talking about a top 4, top 5 pick. What you thinking?
I mean, every year Austin Eckler, I'm on this train of he's out of bounds to me. Don't overspend. He had a great year last year, but Isaiah Spiller. I mean, if they keep trying to draft somebody, Justin Jackson, then they try
Joshua Kelly, Roundtree, yep.
Roundtree. They keep trying to draft somebody. Now I got Isaiah Spiller, who actually really has some pedigree. Drafted a little higher than all these other guys every year before. If they want somebody to take some of Eckler's load off. Even last year, Eckler was basically saying, hey, step up. Step up. You know what I mean? And nobody did. So they drafted Isaiah Spiller. He's going to take some of his workload. And Eckler's glass, he was pretty good last year. I'll give him that. But, this out of bounds is I'm not avoiding you. If he's sitting there, end of the second round, I'll take him. But I'm not going where people are taking him at this point. And Albert O, listen, Albert O was great for the most part. He's Drew Lock's boy. He's having trouble staying healthy, and he has the 2 years he's been in the league. I'm not going crazy over him. I think they drafted a rookie tight end as well who's getting some buzz. So I'm not going too crazy. They got too many solid wide receivers. And if they get close, Javonte's putting the ball in the end zone. I don't want it. Not overspending on Albert O. I gave you Albert O's name long before anybody else knew who he was 2 years ago. So I like him, but no, not this year. Not where he's going.
All right. Pretty decent under review list here. Let's go through these guys.
I think I was a year too soon on Kenyon Drake.
You were high on Drake last year.
Last year, I told you all about Drake, and I think I was a year too soon. We had the Gruden debacle. He never used him. And then everything else that went down there. I think I was a year too soon. I think Kenyon Drake is going to explode. I really, really do. I think that he's going to be a great value. So he's under review. Let's see how it looks. MVS, let's see if he has some chemistry. I mean, he could be the top dog in Kansas City. So we'll see. And Ronald Jones, same thing. I mean, they drafted Pacheco, the running back, and then they still have CEH. But let's see. He's under review. These are 3 guys you got to watch and see what happens this preseason. Because if they hit a spark, if they get in a groove with their teams, you want to jump on them and grab them before somebody else. So if you've somebody that's already drafted, you put them on your watch list right now. Bing, bang, boom. And you just follow the notes. But I think Kenyon Drake's going to have a really good season this year. I think I was a year too soon.
All right. Next up here, the NFC East, Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and the Commanders.
All right. Before we get into NFC, let's go through some of these questions. Because I'm looking at the bottom real quick. I see Allen said, if you can get Javonte at 20, you ain't getting Javonte at 24.
I can get him at 24 with my second pick. My league is dummies. What are you thinking?
You might be able to, but I don't know. That's the thing about the 2 guys. Like, I don't want CMC. I'm not spending that kind of draft capital on him. Derrick Henry, I said I want to take him in the top 5. But if you honestly think you can get Javonte at 24, which I don't, I mean, Derrick Henry's like the only one I would even bother with. Or I would take a wide receiver. And then that's the thing about the wide receivers. Like, I don't want to take a wide receiver in the top 5. I don't know.
How the leagues have changed so much over the years, man.
Yeah, so you're a 12-man league, it looks like, right? I don't know, man. When's your draft? Let us know that. We can go up to these other questions if there's anything here.
Let's see. Let's talk about Brown need a QB to build trust. Watson suspended 6 games. This is when we were talking about Felton.
I don't trust Jacoby Brissett. He can't. I don't know. What's the old joke? He can't hit water from a boat.
Talking about Brissett, just telling you what he's read. He's competing to be backup for Brissett.
I mean, yeah, of course, because Rosen's been there less than a week, so of course he's competing to be the backup. But listen, they're going to go through it all, and Rosen's either going to crash and burn, and we'll never hear of him again, and that's why he's under review, or he's going to show his pedigree. I keep using that word, so I'm sorry, but he's going to show it, and he's going to outplay Brissett. Yeah, I mean, and he'll be the starter for those 6 games. It is not hard to outplay Jacoby Brissett. I mean, I couldn't do it.
Me neither.
But, you know, I'm not an NFL quarterback. I ain't got no pedigree.
All right. Kind of relating to what you were talking about, some CMC and injury guys. I agree with Henry, which makes me scared to grab him again. Any insight on running back 3rd overall if you want to stay away from injury-prone guys?
Yeah, Javonte. But you take him from me, I tell you what, I'm going to break your legs.
Whoa.
I'm just joking.
That got dark quickly.
No, but I'm honest. And you're in the league with me, and you're picking 3rd, and I'm picking 5th or 6th, whatever it is. But listen, that's who I'm taking. So if you want to take who I'm taking at 6, at 3, otherwise, I mean, take your pick.
Flex Adam Jeremy.
You can easily sign up or sign on or look at or log into any fantasy platform out there, and they probably got Javonte 12 to 15, maybe. Nobody's going to say take him to 5, but they're all going to tell you the same exact 5 guys. Every single one. They might flip-flop a couple of the 2. So take your pick. But that's not why you're here, right? We didn't start this so I could regurgitate what ESPN or Fantasy Pros or the fantasy footballers or any of these guys are saying, because I'm not going to regurgitate what I don't believe. I am taking Javonte Williams as early as number 2.
That's bold and aggressive.
It's happening. It's happening.
I remember the text after you took Zeke, after the draft is over, you're like, I should have took Jonathan Taylor. I won't forget it.
So I'm going with it because that when 2 years ago the season ended, I was like, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor next year with my first pick. And I was right about to take him up until like 2 minutes before the draft. And I was like, I don't know. Wentz, I don't know. You know, so I was like, And I went with Zeke because he was fresh and young. He looked fit and nimble. I was like, all right, Zeke at 5. And then after the draft, like I said, I texted you. I was like, I should have taken Jonathan Taylor. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, he's murdering everybody in the league and everybody's souls. And the year ends, and I'm out of the money. And that was why. So when this last year ended, I was like, Javonte Williams is who I want. And I've gone gray. And that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. So,
as you always say, man, go with your gut, right?
Yeah, I have to. I have to.
How about Cook at 2? Draft is August after preseason. I think August 27th or August 28th.
Well, we're gonna get to Cook kind of when we get to NFC North. There's somebody's going to steal his thunder a little bit this year, and it's not Alexander Madison. So we'll talk about that in a minute, Alan.
All right. Braden, I'm going to come back to you. Let me go back into the divisions here. NFC East, we were talking about Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and the Commanders now. In play, I like this name. I was actually going to mention him this evening as well. A lot of good talk, man.
Yeah. Is it Wandale or Wendale?
I think I Wandale is what I saw on a website, so I'm not 100% sure. I'll look it up, though.
I thought it was Wendell, but who cares? He's not a secret anymore. But he's murdering it. And I think that he is this year's Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
Wow.
And
big call.
the only thing that could even slightly hinder that is the quarterback play. But Kirk Cousins didn't really hinder Jefferson. And I believe they even had a backup in there at some point, Jefferson's rookie year. Is it Wandale or Wendell?
Wandale, yeah, it's spelled like that.
Well, I'm a moron, so there's that.
I don't stop that.
But he's not a secret anymore. But he is somebody who you want to have on your radar and probably grab. I see Kadarius Toney. I like him a lot this year. The problem with the Giants is that Sterling Shepard can't stay healthy. In the games he's in, he's going to get a ton of love, and it's going to take a little bit away from Toney, a little bit away from Robinson. But Shepard won't be in all 17 games. And I think Wandale is the guy that you need to know about. I think he's going to be the best rookie wide receiver this season.
Talking about Sterling Shepard,
yeah,
he was your out of bounds guy.
He just can't stay healthy. I mean, he murders it when he's in there, but he can't stay healthy, so he's out of bounds for me. And this is like the one out of bounds where I'm just like, I don't even want anything to do with him. 17th round, I wouldn't even touch him. Galladay stinks. I tried to tell people that last year. Galladay stinks. Nobody loves him.
There was a meme that was going around that was absolutely horrible. I can't talk about it, but I'll send it to you later. All right. Under review, Jalen Tolbert. That Gallup isn't supposed to be back, they're saying, for a little while, too. Talk about that, and you're 100% correct, man, on this one.
Yeah, it's a crazy division for wideouts. I mean, all of a sudden, the Eagles are absolutely loaded. Washington has, like, one wide receiver and then a couple other guys. I know they got the rookie. And then Dallas, we don't even know if Gallup's going to be healthy. They got rid of Cooper. CeeDee Lamb, people are super high on him. I could have had him under the out-of-bounds category. But I kind of like him where he's at right now. But it's just the wideouts are nuts. And I just think Jalen Tolbert is just in a perfect position for Dallas. Rookie wideout. I think he's somebody who before too long you could get. But if he heats up in the preseason, his draft stock is going to shoot up as well.
Sorry about that. Just looking at something real quick. Got an alert. My bad. But yeah, dude, the wideouts here, I mean, they're just so young, too. That's the crazy part. Just age plays such a huge factor. And then it's down to quarterback play. I think that's going to be even the biggest tell out of them all.
And I think Quez Watkins last year, we talked about him in our preseason show. He blew up in the preseason, never really got too much burn or did too much with it during regular season. I think another year under his belt, he could shine with them. But then they got Devonta Smith. They got Marquise Brown, right? Or no, he went to Arizona. Who'd they
Arizona,
get?
correct.
They got somebody. The Eagles got somebody.
AJ.
Oh, yeah, AJ Brown, the other Brown. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
going to be crazy, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into the NFC North. Bears, Lions, your Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings. In play, some interesting names here. I had to actually look up some of these guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're probably my favorite trio right here. Darko, I see he's talking about Christian Watson. It's his offensive rookie of the year. Let me introduce you, if you haven't heard of him, to Mr. Romeo Throw Up the Dubs. Because this dude is special. This guy is going to put Randall Cobb, who I love, the dearest of my heart, is a Green Bay Packer fan, on the bench. Goodbye. Sit down, old man. Sit down, old man. Randall Cobb, Romeo Dubs. And I don't even know if that's how to pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. It could be Dobes. These Dubs. That's what he's going to lead to. Christian Watson's hurt already. Lazard, I think, we'll talk about him in a second. He's their one. Romeo Dubs, I think he's going to be there too, man. This guy, I could see him easily catching over 80 passes this year out of the slot.
Wow.
Yeah. Because They have Josiah DeGuara because Tunyon has proven that he's a waste of space, like I tried to explain last season. And Tunyon, DeGuara another year, maybe a little better. But Rodgers never likes his tight ends. He likes the guys over the middle, the slant guys, the speedy guys. That's why Cobb was so good for so long. Lazard was kind of his guy for that for a little bit when he would get in the game after they finally played him like I told him to. Dubs is going to be that guy. He's somebody who you need to know if you don't know, because I think he's going to be the best Packers rookie wide receiver. Kene Nwangwu.
Say it one more time.
Kene Nwangwu.
Right.
I don't know. He's
you did a better guess than me.
Came back for the Vikings last year. Didn't get too much burn. They used him on special teams quite a bit. They're playing him into the offense much more. He is going to overtake Madison as the number 2, and he is going to cut into Dalvin Cook's playing time massively this year. That is my call. And Amir Smith-Marset is going to be the wide receiver 2 because Adam Thielen is going to sit down, old man. And it's going to be Jefferson and Smith-Marset being the top 2. 2 rookies that didn't do much last year for the Vikings that are going to break out this year and really help that team and give my team, the Packers, fits.
You know, my love for Thielen, it hurts, but I can totally agree with what you're saying. All right. Out of bounds. This is a very interesting one, and I kind of agree. It's such a weird situation for every RB1. Talk about it.
Yeah. Jones. I mean, I think Dylan's going to have much more playing time. He looked great last year. Cook, I just talked about with Kene. I think he's going to cut into his time significantly. Swift, I mean, he's got 16 other running backs there that he's got to fight with, and he can't stay healthy. And then Monty. I really think, all the guys there, starting with who we talked about earlier, Darrington Evans. I mean, he's probably not going to stay healthy and not going to do much. But he's going to eat into it a little bit. I think they still have probably 1 or 4 of the Williams or something. Then they got our boy from last year, right, that we told everybody about. He was our biggest, I would say, Khalil Herbert, our biggest guesstimator. I think he's going to eat into Monty's workload very much this year. So I think the RB1s in this entire division are going to be overdrafted. Would I like them on my fantasy team? Sure. But I'm not going to pay what they are going for because the RB2 on that team is almost as valuable when you weigh where they're going versus, what they're going to give you.
Faizilla, man, on Green Bay just looks like it's just ridiculous. He stands next to Aaron Jones and just makes him look so little.
Yeah.
All right. You kind of mentioned Alan Lazard before, a little bit of Amari Rodgers. I guess just kind of recap, or go into whatever you were going to say from there.
Yeah, I mean, Amari Rodgers was the rookie last year, didn't get much burn. So everybody's on Christian Watson. Everybody, myself, talking about Dubs. They're not talking about him yet, but they will be. And Lazard, A-Rod, much like Favre did, his predecessor, creates superstars, right? Favre used to with Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, Antonio Freeman. Did A-Rod do this with Devontae Adams? We'll see, because if he crashes and burns with Carr, I mean, Adams has the pedigree. Here I go with that word again. But did he make him better? So could Alan Lazard be a real, true wide receiver 1? I love Alan Lazard, I think, more than anybody out there.
You do.
Right? I gave you his name way back when. And I think he's ridiculous. He's the best blocking wide receiver in football. You can't tell me a better wide receiver that does as much offensively and blocks as well as he does. I mean, you said it yourself. The blocks he sets on offense, he's ridiculous. And that's why A-Rod rewards him. And I think that these other guys, like maybe Rodgers, maybe Watson, and Dubs, if they do just enough, Lazard, I think it could eat. So I think all 4, I'm not dismissing Watson, but much like you mentioned his name, Watson is the name everybody's talking about. And that's not what we do. Amari Rodgers, Dubs, and I think Lazard is a legit wide receiver 1. So Watson is going to be overdrafted. These other guys won't be. And that's what we talk about in the Answers podcast.
Oh, yeah, baby. All right, let's go into the next one here. NFC South, Falcons, Panthers, Saints, and the Buccaneers. In play, I actually mentioned this guy's name, your first one here, to somebody at a wedding on Friday saying, hey, he was like, we were talking fantasy football. He actually joined the group. He said, give me some sleepers. I was like, you should pay attention to this guy. Go for it.
Yeah, well, now he hurt his arm. They're saying it's not serious.
Yeah.
We'll see. But he's got Mariota throwing him the football. They had the connection from Oakland, Las Vegas, whichever one you want to call it. And now he's playing for the Falcons. And I know that they got London Drake, the rookie, and everybody loves him. And everybody else is junk, just like I told you last year. All their other wide receivers are junk. Don't even worry about them. What's his face is not playing, Ridley, so far. So you don't even worry about it. They got Pitts, and Alligator, Al Borland. Doesn't matter. He's going to be their starting running back. So I think these are the two guys on the Falcons that I'm targeting because everybody's going to pay up too much for London. Everybody's going to pay up a little too much for Pitts. But Brian Edwards, let's see how that arm looks because that kind of makes me a little sad. But Brian Edwards was a guesstimator last year that we hit on. I said Brian Edwards going to have a huge game. He had a huge game. And Troutman was hot before he got hurt last year, like trending super sky high. And what's his face? Jameis back in the fold. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Troutman is a guy that I feel like you could steal solid tight end production with him this year. So don't forget about him. Don't forget about Troutman.
I got one here too that we'll talk about later on. Let me go on to the next here. Sorry, a little disorganized here. All right, out of bounds. Bucks weapons. They got a lot of them, man.
I'm just not overpaying. We saw what happened last year. I mean, every week we were calling them, right? We're like, Godwin's not going to have a good week this week. It's going to be Evans. Evans had a good week. Evans is not going to have a good week this week. It's going to be Godwin. Next thing you know, they were both hurt. Antonio Brown, and then he was hurt, and then it was somebody else, and it was the running backs, and it was the tight ends. You said Gronk's going to have 2 TDs. He had 2 TDs. They just have too much. They just have too much. They got too much. They got Fournette, White, Vaughn, Gio. I don't want to mess with any of that, right? No. Then they got Evans, Julio, Godwin, Johnson, Perriman. And the tight ends that they got, the same old guys you've been picking up when you had nothing. Cameron Brate.
Great, yeah.
What's the use? Let somebody else have them. Unless, remember, out of bounds doesn't mean they're off my list. I'll take them if the price is right. But I'm not paying up for Evans because the moment I do, I'm going to miss out on something else. I'm going to have a killer week from Evans, and then next week's going to be a dud. I want solid, mediocre production throughout the season over a huge game and a dud. Huge game, dud. Huge dud. That does nothing for me. And I feel like they have too many good people. I don't think Julio is worth a damn, really, but he's got Brady throwing him the ball. And when Julio doesn't have to be the best one there, he's probably going to be the best one there. You know what I mean? You're going to be paying up for Evans, paying up for Godwin coming back from his injury. And Julio is going to steal stuff from him, just like Antonio Brown did last year. I told you to stay away from all three of them last year for the same exact reason. So I'm still in that boat.
Somebody else is going to eat in is Kyle Rudolph too, man. I mean, I know he hasn't been relevant in a while, but you know how tight ends, man. Tight ends play a major difference.
That's how it goes.
All right. They were cheering this guy's name going into practice right next to Darnold. How does that make him feel?
Yeah, well, he's under review because they were cheering his name, and then Sam Darnold outplayed him.
Yep.
I I feel like I say this a lot too. You won't find a bigger Baker fan than me. Somebody that's not even a Browns fan, a Panthers fan. But I love Baker. I love his moxie, and I feel like he got the raw end of the deal in Cleveland multiple times over multiple seasons. But so be it. He's under review. Can he win the job? And even if he doesn't win the job, when he gets a shot, will he be worth a fantasy pickup? Let's wait and see. He's under review. I'm rooting for him. I had him on a couple fantasy teams, dynasty teams. I dropped him on a couple dynasty teams. I did not pick him back up when he went to Carolina because I don't know. I don't know. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does it. I think he can. But don't count those eggs. You know what I mean?
All right, let's go on to the last division here so we can get some more questions going. NFC West, Cardinals, Rams, 49ers, and the Seahawks. You're in play. I could have guessed this one a mile away.
Yeah, Rashad Penny. I know everybody's going to like Walker here, the rookie that they drafted. But I feel like this year with the rookie running backs, the bigger rookie running backs that everybody is looking at, I mean, even with the Jets, we didn't really talk about them. Like, Bryce, right? Bryce Johnson. What is it?
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall. And Michael Carter. I still feel like Carter's going to eat into it a little bit. But Breece Hall will probably be the best one out of these. But I feel like they really love Rashad Penny. They kept him around through all these injuries for all these years. And he finally busted out. And then they went and they drafted Walker. But I feel like Penny's going to be the guy as long as he's healthy. So don't overspend on Walker. You can grab Penny probably after Walker and get more value at least to start the season. So do not forget about Rashad Penny. And luckily, boys and girls, we don't have to worry about Chris Carson anymore. God bless him. Prayers to
Lucky
him.
Retirement, man, yeah.
Hopefully, he recovers, but I'm so glad I don't have to tell people to not play him or draft him anymore. But best wishes to him.
All right. Out of bounds, Eli Mitchell.
Yeah, I love Eli Mitchell. We gave you Eli Mitchell's last week, week 1, and said, watch out for this guy, and then the rest is history. I have a feeling that Trey Sermon is ready. And I think they're ready for Trey Sermon. And they drafted Ty Davis-Pierce. So it's just another name. San Francisco, the endless list of running backs. Absolutely ridiculous. I know they got rid of a couple that we're not even going to worry about. But I think Sermon's ready. So I feel like Elijah Mitchell's going to get a little overdrafted. Coming back from an injury, I think Sermon is ready to show what he's about this year. I don't think he was ready last year.
It's the same situation with the Jags. I feel it's going to be the same exact concept. ETN with James Robinson, Elijah Mitchell with Trey Sermon. I agree with you on that one, bud. All right, under review, your main man, Eason. Every running back chart is a mess for all 4 teams. Talk about that.
We've been hooting and hollering Eason's name for years now. He's under review. If he gets a shot, make sure you know his name now because, Drew Lock could kill it. I'm sorry, it's not going to be Geno. Not for long. I know he had his one good game, but come on. So Jacob Eason's who I'm looking for. I know he's third on the depth chart, and then every running back chart's a mess for every single team in this division. I mean, like it or not, the Rams are a mess. They got way too many names. Akers, Jake Funk, Henderson. They just drafted somebody. They drafted somebody last year. It goes on and on and on. San Francisco, same exact way. Arizona, same exact way. They got Connor, but come on. And Seattle, we talked about. So it's, tread lightly with the running backs in the NFC West.
All right. I had a couple questions. You know what? I forgot to copy them down, so I'm just going to actually read them out loud in the question section here. Just give me 1 sec to be able to get to them. All right. First one was, all right, 14-team PPR. I have pick 5. I want a running back first round, but I'm also looking at wide receivers there. I think you mentioned this before. Of these four, who would you take? Henry, Jefferson, Chase, or Harris?
I'm a little nervous about Harris. Somebody had asked another question about Harris. I'm a little nervous. I like him. The line is a little better. They were terrible last year. But it's like, are we really going to trust Rudolph, or they got what, Mitch Trubisky, right? I trust Trubisky. I don't trust Rudolph, and I think right now it's Rudolph. Um, I probably would take Harris. I think. I honestly would. Like,
sorry, I'm not laughing. That's something that Jeremy said was pretty funny. Go ahead.
I feel like I would take Harris. He's got the straightest path to points. Chase is ridiculous. Jefferson is ridiculous. But I feel like I have to take a running back and then come back and hit a solid wide receiver and another solid wide receiver in the third. I just feel like spending up for Jefferson or spending up for Chase in the top 5, especially, there's just going to be too many down weeks. I don't think you're ever going to have less than 10 points with Najee Harris. But you could certainly get a 2 or 3 point dud. If Higgins goes off, or Boyd goes off, Mixon goes off, or if Cook goes off, Kene goes off, Smith was set, Irv Smith, they go off. I just feel like Harris is your safest at 5 for me right now.
I noticed you didn't put Thielen in there. It's all right. It's still heartbreak over here. All right. Let's go into the other question was answered already. Alan had the question, then you told him who you thought from the number 2 perspective. But we will go into Braden's question here. What's your draft position in ABG League, Nick? Want to swap draft positions? I'm at 2. Nick, you are at... No, it's 6. Yes, you are at 6.
I'm at 6. Listen, if I swap with you, I'm getting your second, taking the 6th. I'm not giving you my second round because I want the comeback. If you want Javonte Williams at 2, take him. Jeremy, if you want him at 3, take him. But if he's there at 6, I'm taking him. It's done. It's a done deal. It's happening. If 1 through 5 wants him, you take him. I'll go to plan B. But I'm not giving up my second, coming back, and then waiting 4 more picks, from the 6th spot in the second round, the snake to the second. I'm not doing that because it's not worth it. It's not worth it because I can get Javonte Williams at 6 unless one of you take him. And if you take him, okay, I'll go to plan B. But I'm not going to draft. I'm not going to trade up.
All right. I'm just going to make some adjustments to this draft order real quick. Hold on one second.
Because my thing was, I'm taking Javonte Williams no matter where I am unless I'm number 1. If I'm number 1, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor. I'm taking Javonte Williams. So I'm taking him at 6. If I'm a 10th pick in a league, I'm taking him at 10th. It doesn't matter. If somebody else takes him before me, then I'll go to plan B. But I'm not going to give up the quick comeback in round 2, to move up and get him. Not right now, anyway.
All right. Braden, love the profile picture, man. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Alan, Kadarius Toney breakout year. You had mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, he's just got to keep his head on straight. He's doing all the right things so far, so we'll see.
All right, we talked about Christian Watson, and you talked about the Dubs.
Romeo. Oh, Romeo, wherefore art thou?
Galladay. Oh, this one's a good one. Big year for Michael Pittman Jr. I talked about Alec Pierce. What about him?
Yeah, I made a trade in the Dynasty League. I traded my first rounder next year, and I got Tua and Michael Pittman because my other quarterback was Kyler.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty good because a nice backup quarterback who I think is going to have a good year, and I really needed a wide receiver 1, and I think Michael Pittman's a wide receiver 1, and I like him this year. We'll see if Matt Ryan can get it done. The third quarterback in 3 years, third old man in 3 years for the same team. Let's see if he can do it. They should have just kept Jacob Eason. I don't know what that was wrong.
Matty Ice with the offensive line is a dangerous situation, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
Looks like a year to put away drafting by name value. Name value? Yeah, man.
Every year.
Put away same weight, man.
Every year. That's from I'm never a name value drafter, really.
One person I will throw on name value that's been around for a long time, injury prone, somebody I wanted to mention before that I forgot to. Devontae Parker is being drafted in like the 13th round. He's probably going to be wide receiver one for the what's it called, the Pats. If he can stay healthy, he is going to make that team that much better.
Yeah.
He's going to be the Landry to Baker. He's going to be that safety net. He's going to be that guy that I think they're going to go to, which is going to open up Jacoby Myers. Obviously, the running situation is different. I mean, it's still Belichick.
Yeah, and they're going to be running the 2 tight end set this year. They came out and said it. Last year we thought maybe they would. They never really did. They couldn't both stay healthy. No, not Ossie. They're going to go with Jonnu and Henry.
I know. I'm just saying, Ossie. I miss him.
Yeah, I think he's still there.
All right. Lazard, not MVS, will not be on any of my teams.
That's okay.
I like this one. And I was actually talking to somebody about this recently. Barkley's worth a shot in the 3rd round. New coaching staff, and new O-line. I like it, man. I think Barkley could have a real good bounce back year, man.
Yes, definitely 3rd round. Yes.
That value is good.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Keenan Allen over Mike Evans. I think they'd be kind of similar, to be honest, as far as production. Mike Williams is probably going to be the big name over there.
Yeah, but Mike Williams has more of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Game log.
There's a lot of guys over there too, man.
I probably would, and here's why. The AFC West is going to be far more competitive than the NFC South. So he's going to be in more back and forth games, whereas the Bucks could just roll through. They could just roll through every single team in the division. And I would probably, take Keenan Allen over Mike Evans because, what do we want? We want targets. We want usage. We want necessity. And I feel like he will be needed. He'll be more necessary than Mike Evans on a game-to-game basis. So, I would go Keenan Allen over Mike Evans.
All right. Baker is Manziel 2.0, just more talented.
Let me tell you something. Josh Rosen and Johnny Manziel, and there's probably 1 or 2 other guys. They get drafted by a different team, their career trajectory is completely different. I guarantee it. If Josh Rosen didn't get screwed in Arizona, if Johnny Manziel didn't have to go to the Browns, I really feel like their careers would be different. Manziel might be out of the league, but he wouldn't be the laughing stock that he was. He would have had a little bit more success. Yeah. I think Baker's better than Manziel, but we'll see. I mean, you could not be too far off. I mean, his situation is definitely Manziel 2.0.
Very similar.
But what Browns quarterback is not. By that regard, Manziel is like Browns quarterback 8.0. You know what I mean? Baker's just 9.0. Because the Browns are the Browns. That's what they do. Right, Michael?
All right. I was going to ask about where or if at all I should take Walker. I'm a big fan. That is me as a Spartan fan, though.
I think
Walker before.
Yeah, I think he's just being overdrafted because I think it's going to be Penny. I think they love Penny. They've loved him since they drafted him. They've stuck with him since 2018. He's never got to play like he played last year. They stuck with him. No matter how good Chris Carson was playing, they stuck with Penny. They wanted Penny to be the guy. Still Pete Carroll. Yes, they drafted him. But I just think it's Penny. And I think right now Walker's being overdrafted and Penny's being underdrafted. I know it's early. There hasn't been many drafts. But people like the new shiny toy. That's what they like. So you got to take advantage of that. If you can get Walker later than where he's, figuring to go, I'm going to guess 12-team league. Most people playing 12, 14-team leagues, 10 to 14. I'm going to guess he's somewhere in the 5 to 9 range, 6 to 9 round.
It says average, at least on Yahoo's about 10, but I agree.
I think I would take him probably 10 to 12. I'd feel safe with Walker. But I would rather grab Penny in the 6th. I'd rather push that far and then come back and grab him. But that's not going to happen. So I like him. I like him. I just think Penny's the guy until Penny's hurt.
All right. Not sure what this is about, but CEH year 2 breakout.
Well, I think this will be his 3rd year, right?
Yeah, I think it's his 3rd year.
They don't like him.
They don't like it, man. That's messed up.
I tried pointing. They don't like him. He doesn't fit what Andy Reid wants to do. He just doesn't. That's why they keep bringing other running backs in. That's why they keep drafting people. That's why they signed Ronald Jones. They don't like CEH. So, does he have skills? Sure. I'm rooting for Rojo. More than likely won't happen. Pacheco is killing it. Pacheco, however you want to pronounce it.
You got to say it with an accent.
He's killing it so far. They're doing anything they can to forget about CEH. So he's somebody that to me is going to be, like Jeremy said, drafted off a name value. And I think the value is more with the other 2 guys that I mentioned.
All right. Me and Michael are in the same boat here about Mike Williams.
I mean, he should have been last year. You go off the first 4 games, and then he just disappeared. I love Mike Williams. I love him. I'm glad he finally stayed healthy. He could be their top wide receiver this year. But he could have been last year. But he had 4 huge games, and he kind of disappeared.
This is what I was laughing at before, by the way. Look at that. A preseason preview without a recommendation of Bryce Love.
Until you ruined it.
Darko agrees.
I wonder, where is he? Now you brought him up. What is he doing?
I will Google him.
How do you go from being the best running back in college football to getting hurt in a year of college that you never should have went to just never playing in the NFL, to just, I don't know, making subs at Jersey Mike's? I don't even know what he's doing right now, where he's at. He's at home. I don't know. He disappeared. So bad. Yes, if you could take Najee at 2 and Javonte at 24, Alan, yeah, and then you're done. You don't even have to worry about running backs until round 10, and you get Christian Walker. I mean, yes, that's what you do. And then you get a solid wide receiver on the comeback, because there's just so many wide receivers, you can't go wrong. That's why I'm not even taking one of the studs in the top 5. Yes, that's what you do. Alan, if you could do that, please keep us posted. If you get Najee at 2 and Javonte at 24.
Yep, I was about to say the same thing.
Do it.
All right. Braden saying fair, he'll stay at 2.
I mean, there's nothing against you. Listen, it's a fair offer. I just don't want to give up the capital because I don't have to. You know what I mean? Because if somebody else takes Javonte from me at 6, okay, so I'll just take one of the top 5 guys at 6. That's my fallback plan. If everybody takes the top 5 guys, then I got my Javonte at 6. There's no reason for me to give up that round 2. You know what I mean? Nothing against you. I appreciate the offer. I absolutely love it. Rob will tell you, I'm a trade whore.
I was just about to say it. You saw my face? You saw my face, didn't you?
Nothing more than I love to make a trade. I could buy a sandwich, get to the car, and trade you for something else. Sandwich I've been wanting all day long. I'll trade you for it. I'll trade it for something. So I appreciate it. I do.
All right. Going on to Chad's question here. I can keep 3 for the round they were drafted. Already keeping JT for a second. Beautiful. Excellent. Now that I have 4 others to choose from for the other 2. Joe Burrow in the 12th round, Javonte Williams in the 6th, BMW in the 11th, Mark Andrews in the 4th.
Read that last sentence. That's what you do.
Leaning heavily on Burrow and Javonte.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're 100% correct on those. And Javonte in the 6th by itself.
Yep. And Burrow in the 12th. Just lock it up. I mean, listen, if you're not taking a quarterback until the 12th round, why? Why? You following some person that says, don't ever draft a quarterback until the end. Joe Burrow is going to be like the 5th quarterback taken at worst, I think, this year. You take him in the 12th. You take Javonte in the 6th because I'm taking him at pick 6. And you're still going to get a first-round pick. You know what I mean?
Because he got JT in the 2nd.
So, yes, you won. You already win. So here's what I do. You ready? I don't know what pick you are, Chad. Hopefully you can tell us. Maybe you don't know yet. But I probably go Chase for the double BB banger because I know I have Burrow locked up. So even if I'm like pick 3, I'm probably just like, boom, give me Chase. Doesn't matter. I lock up the double BB. I can live with a couple down games because if Chase doesn't go off, Boyd and Higgins will go off, and I have Burrow. But if Chase does go off, now I got the double BB, and I got Jonathan Taylor, and I got Javonte Williams. I just won first place.
I like it. I had them last year. It was freaking fantastic.
But somebody might keep Chase. So maybe that doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
My dreams are shot.
Dum. All right, Scary Terry, big year. Upgrade at QB. He's been forgotten. Dude, Scary Terry is what I say, Hopkins Jr. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. But I don't think it's an upgrade, to be honest with you.
I don't know if it's an upgrade. That's the thing. Carson Wentz, really? I don't know. He wore his shirt. Felt like he was Baker. He said he woke up dangerous or like had some sort of comment that was similar to Baker thing. I don't know. Like, I don't hate on Carson Wentz, but I don't know if he's – I don't know. I don't know, Alan. But I love Scary Terry, and I feel like he can get it done no matter who the quarterback is. So, yeah. Yes. I'm always get Scary Terry. You've forgotten, so you scoop him. You're getting a wide receiver 1 probably at a wide receiver 3 price. You're right.
Cooks and David Moore are also late round locks. I agree, man. Both studs if you go running back heavy early. A lot of these guys are going to have value. I know these younger teams, the ones that were scared of what quarterbacks look like and stuff like that, they're going to produce. Somebody's going to be out there. Those are names that I would be looking at late rounds to be able to fill in some gaps, especially if you go running back heavy like you're saying.
Oh, yeah. Brandon Cooks is a stud, without a doubt. And I like Davis Mills. And I really think because Brevin Jordan is going to be the breakout tight end this year, that's going to help Cooks. Cooks was the only one last year and still was ridiculous.
Yep.
So now you put Brevin, like, if you haven't Googled Brevin Jordan yet, even though I talked about him from the jump, just do yourself a favor, do it, and put him on your watch list, put him on your draft board. You are not going to be disappointed. You're going to be able to get him the last round. Unless he starts killing it in the preseason and people start figuring out who he is. All right?
All right. You taking Travis Kelce in the 2nd or 3rd? He's been going 3rd in a lot of mocks that he's in.
I kind of get the feeling that they're going to start to use Noah Gray a little more this year. They drafted him last year. They never really let him get too much of the playing time. There's really no reason to. Kelce's getting up there. Tight ends can play a little later in their career. They start going a little later in their career. And he doesn't look like he's declining at all. But if I can get him in the 4th, I would definitely jump on it. The third is tough because Alan, like if you're going, like you said, Najee, Javonte, and then you're going to come back with Kelce. Now you're in the 4th. Going for your wide receiver 1, waiting a long time to come back for your wide receiver 2 and 3. I know Kelce's value over tight ends is typically way higher. But I think that gap's going to close a little this year. I feel like the gap between Kelce and the rest of them is going to close a little. Let's make that into a soundbite. Let's see if that happens because usually it's Kelce and everybody else. I feel like the gap is going to close. I think Pitts is going to make a huge jump. Like, do you realize he had the 2nd most successful tight end rookie season in history behind Dick Butkus? Like, his numbers were ridiculous. His production was ridiculous. The team is just trash. I think Brevin Jordan's going to jump, as I talked about. I think Troutman's going to have a good year, as I've talked about. And then there's all the other people that everybody knows about, right? Andrews is still around. You still got to worry about him. I think Waller is still around. You still got to worry about him.
Hunter Henry.
I talked about Hunter Henry with Smith. I think they're going to eat into each other like last year. But there's people, and I just think it's going to close a little. I mean, the gap was what? Probably 100 points. I could see it getting down to 60, 70 range this year at worst. At worst.
A lot of people are staying away from Freiermuth because of the quarterback situation over there. If Trubisky is your QB1, that's somebody I'm looking to draft later on, just because I think he could have a good go. He'll be the safety net that Trubisky would be used to. Remember the Jimmy Graham? I mean, he had tight ends that worked.
Oh yeah. So I would take Kelsey in the 4th, the 3rd. I'd rather grab a wide receiver 1 because you could still get him in the 3rd. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's kind of
good question. Does adding a flex and losing a bench spot in ABG change draft strategy?
I don't think so, because you're still drafting for the best X amount of players as you can, and the flex is wide receiver, running back, tight end. So odds are, your 4th best wide receiver, your 3rd best running back, or your 2nd best tight end when you're drafted. The points are no different. It's not like it's a 2nd tight end and tight ends get, twice the amount of points for receptions like some leagues do. The points are the same. So you're just going to use the flex as your top bench guy every single week. So instead of having your top guy on your bench, your top guy is now in your starting lineup. You know what I mean? I don't think it changes anything. You want to draft the best guys. You want 4 solid wide receivers. You want 3 solid running backs. You want at least 1 solid, if not 2 solid tight ends. And the same thing with QBs, but you can't throw the QB in there. So you're going to play your top 3 wide receivers. You can put your 4th one in. You're going to play your top 2 running backs. You're going to put your 3rd one in. You're going to play your best tight end. If you draft 2 studs, put the 2nd one in. Play the matchups. I don't think it changes draft strategy at all. Not for me.
You know what I've been seeing lately that people have been adding? They've been adding kicker to that flex spot, because with some kickers nowadays, you can get up to 10, 12, 15 points. That's better than a flex spot.
Oh, yeah.
So, interesting concept.
I believe it.
All right. Who is my best keeper option between Zeke, Antonio Gibson, T. Higgins, and Kyle Pitts? I'm thinking Higgins, not high on either running back, and I don't know what to expect from Pitts with Mariota at quarterback.
I'd honestly, I like Zeke, but with the whole situation, I'd honestly go Pitts. I would keep Pitts because then your tight end is done. You don't have to worry about it. You have a top 4 tight end, because that's what he was last year, and the number 2 all-time rookie tight end, who's the best option on the team, even with them drafting the stud, even with Brian Edwards there, who we love. He's the best option, and he's going to catch a ton of balls. He's going to be even better in year 2. And I would go Pitts. I'm locked up. I don't even have to worry about tight end. I can just load up on wide receivers, load up on running backs. Antonio Gibson I like, but they drafted another guy. They got some backups there, people that they had last year, and Jarrett Patterson is probably going to be a little bit more involved this year as well. He keeps getting hurt all the time. Like, we loved him last year, but he couldn't stay healthy. He screwed our ABG team. Zeke, they're saying Zeke's going to be the guy, but we know how good Pollard is. And Higgins, we talked about Higgins. Like, I absolutely love Higgins this year, and that's kind of why. And I love Tyler Boyd, and that's kind of why I'm just like, well, pump your brakes a little bit on Chase. Chase is sexy. I get it. He's the new toy in town. He's the big name. He's the flashy plays. But Higgins is going to have some down games. I think you're solid with Pitts, and then that position's done. I don't even have to worry about it. And then you know what you do? Last round of the draft, you draft Brevin Jordan, and you're done at tight end. You got your backup. You got 2 sick tight ends. and you just worry about running backs and wide receivers. That's what I would do.
All right, Alan. Browns are the only team to have had 2 starting quarterbacks and aren't starting the season with either. 100% correct on that one. Must draft rookies this year.
Like I said, it's a lot of the lesser names. I feel like people are going to overdraft. I mean, I guess Hall. Hall is probably the one who they're at least saying he's our number one. We'll sprinkle in Carter. But they drafted Carter with pretty good capital last year, and he was pretty good before he got hurt. So he's not a slouch. He's not somebody who's just going to push to the side. So I think that Cook is going to be overdrafted for Buffalo. I think Walker's going to be overdrafted. And I think a lot of the wide receivers are kind of going to be overdrafted as well. I would say probably London for Atlanta is a guy that you probably should look at. But then it's like the lesser guys. Dubs. I mean, yeah, Watson's sick, but he's hurt already. And I just feel like, A-Rod just doesn't hand over the throne. He just says, we drafted you our number one. He's got to build the respect. And with Watson being hurt, he's building it with other guys right now. And that's not good for Watson heading into it. So I think we mentioned the guys. If I'm drafting running backs, I want Alligator, Al Geyer, Al Borland for Atlanta. He's my must-draft running back. And Damian Pierce for Houston is second. Those are the 2 guys I want the most because they have the best path to volume. And that's what you want, is volume. There's nobody else in front of them. I mean, Marlon Mack, sure, but he can't stay healthy.
Was Robinson, he's this year or last year?
Wandale?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a rookie. He's a must-draft, without that. I say he's going to be the best rookie wide receiver. Said that earlier.
All right. I kind of feel like Josh Palmer will be the best Charger wide receiver. A lot of good options out there, man.
I was waiting for him last year.
Guyton, they have 2, don't they?
Yeah.
That they like?
Josh Palmer, I mean, Darko's right. Like, he's a different type. He's a different breed. He just never got the burn last year. But, yeah, he's a name, Darko, that a lot of people don't know, and they'll find out too late, probably after week 1. So, I mean, there's my first prediction. We'll see. I don't even know the matchups. But Josh Palmer goes off week 1. He's the number 1 waiver wire ad week 2. I mean, that's something I could clearly see happening without a doubt because he is a stud, and he just never got the burn last year. You're right, Darko.
All right. Who's your top 3 quarterbacks to target, and in what round? I'm thinking Russ Wilson.
I like Wilson. But I got to be honest. I mean, if it's not Burrow because of his type of play, yeah, he's just so good. He really is just so good. I mean, you go back to his last year of college, which was like his only year of college that really mattered to anybody. And even his rookie season before he got hurt, he was doing very well. And then last year just took the world by storm and did what everybody thought he was going to do. If it's not Burrow, who I want, I'm going after the running guys. I want them. I mean, Lamar. I know like anything about taking Lamar. If Lamar's sitting there for me in like round 5 or 6, and the rest of my team looks pretty good, I would take Lamar Jackson. I would, because it's just the points he could rack up with his legs. It can't be matched. But I talked about Tua. I think Tua is going to have a ridiculously good season. So I guess those would be 3, like Tua, Lamar, and Burrow. Like, I don't know if they're like, but that's like Burrow probably is going a round or 2 above Lamar right now, just off a name. Maybe not, because Lamar's running. And then Tua's later. So it's like I have an early guy, a middle guy, and a late guy. And what round? This question, it always baffles my mind. I go through Facebook. I'm in a lot of sports card groups, but a couple fantasy rooms. So every once in a while, a fantasy question will pop up, and it's like, what round with a quarterback? And like, I'm tempted to just be like, whatever round he fits in for you. If you're sitting there and it's round 7 and your team looks pretty good. You got 6 guys that are pretty solid, and all the other wide receivers and running back, like you're just like, I could do without all these guys right now. All the guys I want are like 2 rounds down the board. Then you take your quarterback. Or if you got a couple guys, even if it's like round 4 or 5, like I got all the guys I want, and there's a couple other here, but man, if I could add Kyler Murray to this team, that would make this team ridiculous. You take them. Like, I don't think you can go into drafts saying, I've got to take this guy this round. I've got to take this guy this round, because you're going to screw yourself up. You can have an idea, you can have a blueprint, but you write it in pencil, because it's just going to get destroyed. I mean,
mine's usually destroyed right after the first round.
Decent point. Like, I'm not joking. My game plan is I'm going Javonte Williams in the first round, no matter what pick I had. But if somebody takes him ahead of me, I've got to have plan B lined up, and I do. And I'm not telling you what that is. I let one cat out of the bag. But, like, you can't go in and be like, all right, I've got to get this guy, this guy, this guy. And I'm not taking a quarterback until round 10. Why? Look at your team as the draft goes along. If the quarterback you want is there, even if he's projected to go 2 rounds later, but you want him, you take him. Who cares? You're building your team. It never goes the way anybody thinks it's going to go. It never goes the way the projections say it's going to go. Ever. Never has. That's why I guess.
Answers by guess.
Like, you gotta make a stand. You gotta go with your gut. So I can't answer a question about what round. You take them when you need them. You take them when they're there.
Somebody to kind of look at certain rounds. I know you had mentioned actually round 7. That was what I was going to mention. Jalen Hurts probably be around somewhere, you would think there. Another running quarterback. Weapons have moved up. And somebody that you can get super late. So say, for example, if you miss on a running quarterback and you're like, oh, crap, and you end up with, Stafford that you're not happy with or something like that, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's probably going to be going in one of the last rounds of your draft. And that is somebody who can be a viable option.
And that's the other thing, too. Like, you just said, you said Stafford, you said Matt Ryan, and like Jalen Hurts. Like, these guys, they're not even top 5. These guys are guys that people are probably planning on taking in round 8 to 15, because that's their plan. So when they zig, you've got to zag. If you want Matt Stafford for whatever reason, I'm not going to hate on you. You say, oh, everybody says going around 12. You've got to imagine there's at least one guy in your league who's like, okay, I can fall back on him in 12. And you're sitting there with no quarter, and it's round 10. The rest of your team's solid. You take Matt Stafford. Screw you. Sorry. I jumped the gun at quarterback, but guess what? Now you're stuck with Jacoby Brissett. You know what I mean? Matt Ryan. They're all going to be sitting out there. They're all going to be sitting out there late. So that's why people say you don't draft a quarterback too early. But there are some quarterbacks that if you want them, you get them. You get them. They score the most points. They do.
I know you hated him last year. Somebody just throwing out there too that's going to probably be way low in the later rounds. T-Law. They try to improve this team tremendously for that kid.
I didn't even touch on it. I think he's going to have a nice bounce back year.
Agreed. A lot of criticism last year.
Like, if this was 2019, and people might not understand this if you're not in the sports card hobby like Rob and I. But like in 2019, pre-COVID, right? Sports cards, like, it was booming, right? People were into sports cards, but it's like somebody like Trevor Lawrence, like his cards as a rookie would have been high value, but the value wouldn't have been astronomical. Maybe like $100, maybe $80 for like a rookie autograph of Trevor Lawrence, 2019. And after the season he had, it would be down to like $40-$50, right? So 2020 came around, COVID, sports cards blew up. Not sure if you're aware of this or not, but cards that used to be like $50 to $100 are now like $400 to $800. So, like if it was back in 2019, I would be buying up tons of Trevor Lawrence rookie autograph cards because they would be valued around $40, $50. Whereas a year ago this time, they would have been like $100, $200. But in the current market, his stuff hasn't dropped. Like his rookie cards were thousands of dollars before the season and stayed thousands of dollars still. But fantasy wise, I'm buying into him. I'm buying into him. Last year I told you he was my third favorite. It was Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence is the order I felt like they would be. Trey Lance would be last, Justin Fields would be fourth. That's pretty much how it ended, except for Mac and Wilson were flipped because Wilson got hurt. But I'm bumping up Trevor Lawrence, so you're 100% correct, Rob. I'm right there with you. I think that another year, a real coach happens around him. I like Trevor Lawrence a lot. So Rob gets the first win of the season, ladies and gentlemen. So to answer your question, Alan, there is somebody right there that you could probably take in like round 14. You could probably get Trevor Lawrence and probably do really well with him. Great call, Rob.
All right. Next one here. Chad is the 10th pick in a 10 team, and JT will be his 2.1. Okay. Also, Chase will be 100% capped.
All right. So it doesn't matter. You pick the best wide receiver available at 110.
Devontae Adams. Yeah, I don't know if you want to go
unless he gets capped. I mean, we don't know who's going to get capped.
Yeah, that's true. It all depends on who's out there. All right. Thoughts on Ertz this year? I think this is a great question, especially with Hopkins being suspended.
Yeah, it's a good question. He's good. He's a later round tight end. If you don't get one of the studs, he came in and he was great for them. He's getting up there in age, but I like Ertz. I've never had a problem with Ertz. I actually this year would prefer Ertz over Goddard. Like, whereas in the past, I was like, forget about Ertz, draft Goddard. I think Goddard's going to take over. Goddard obviously took over because Ertz left. I think this year I'd probably take Ertz over Goddard because Philly has too many weapons. They got too many weapons. In Arizona, they got Rondale Moore, Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown can't catch the damn ball.
I have this weird feeling about Marquise Brown this year, man. I don't know why. I know people are just I think they're too high on him, but with Hopkins being out, he's going to be your big play kind of guy. I think he's going to actually be able to catch the ball, and he'll be good for 170-yarder and maybe another catch or something like that, but he'll have that big splash kind of play. All right. Gesicki, no more zeros. I'll be stuck with him again.
It's so Gesicki, man. Yeah, it's so crazy how that happens with him at least once or twice every year. Like, he'll just get a zero. It's like,
I think it was like 4 times last year he called.
Yeah, it's like, what? Like, how does that even happen?
And then the next game he puts up like 25 points.
Yeah, I love Gesicki.
All right, I'm seeing in mocks if I go Najee, Javonte route, I get Keenan and Mike Evans there. I also see Herbert still available. Go ahead. Oh,
yes, I'm agreeing. Yes, those are great ideas, Alan.
Yep. All right, Najee and Javonte, get Allen and Herbert. Sounds like a plan if all goes well.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Winston?
I think Josh Allen's going to be overdrafted, but rightly so. But I don't know if I pay up for the Josh Allen. But it's the right call. I mean, he's probably going to be the third quarterback taken at worst.
Yeah, probably.
And he's probably worth every cent of it. I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah, I want him on my team without a doubt.
He could be one. I mean, it depends on how your league rates quarterbacks too. Thoughts on Winston instead of taking a quarterback in the fourth or so? Again, late fillers, you kind of went over this question already.
Yeah, we talked about a bunch of them, so pick from there, Alan. Sorry.
Giants got a great one in Robinson from KY. Yep, they got some hate drafting him, but the Gators fan also, and he killed us.
Yeah, man, he's ridiculous. And Kadarius, I love Tony too, but Yeah, I think Robinson's the real deal. He's this year's Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson from 2 years ago. I really see that that's how it's going to go.
All right. We talked about Jalen Hurts. Interception factor with Burrow, though. I guess when we were talking up Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. You can't. I'm not too worried about that. I mean, he's so good of a quarterback where like it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because like you know what I mean. It's not like all he's throwing is interceptions. It's not like he's throwing for 96 yards and 4 interceptions. And I mean, he's throwing for over 330 every single game with like 3 or 4 touchdowns. If he's got a couple interceptions, who the hell cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm not worried about that, Jeremy.
When will there be an Answers by Guest League? There is one.
There is one. We're in our second season, and we had a couple spots open because a couple people dropped out, but we had 2 teams last year that had 2 co-managers. Rob and I were on one team last year, and then Darko and Michael Charlton were teammates. Well, now they split, and Rob and I split, so we filled out the 14-man league. But Alan, Chadzinski, is number 1 on the waiting list. We will put you at number 2. Alan.
Perfect. All right. Daniel Jones is a flyer. Updated O-line, Josh Allen's old coaches. Hopefully decent play calling now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a last round pick. If you need a second quarterback and his bye week lines up, he's somebody who's going to come off the waiver wire if Wendell does like I think he will, and like Tony, like you think he does, and if Barkley has a bounce back like we all kind of think he will, and things start going well for Daniel Jones, he's going to get picked up and he's going to be a starter. I don't think you draft him as your starter because you have to see all that happen. You could draft him as a backup late. I would not draft right now Daniel Jones as my starter and go into week 1 head first and be like, all right, I got this sick team. Daniel Jones is my starter. Let's do this. It could work out. And anybody's watched the show for 5+ years now. Nobody probably is as crazy as me and it does as much random reach for the stars moves as I do, and I wouldn't even draft him as my starter. So that should be a barometer for you.
All right, let me know when a spot opens up. Like you said, number 2 on the list. You know what? I'm actually going to agree with Alan on this. I honestly think the Giants can win the NFC East, but I think it's going to be an 8-9 record that can win it for some reason.
Those teams are all so similar. I think Washington's probably the worst somehow.
Yeah. I mean, Dallas always thinks Dallas is going to be decent with the players they have, and they just keep on shooting themselves in the foot.
They'll be 4-0, about to win the championship, and then they'll be 5-6.
We said all the weapons for Eagles. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jalen Hurts is still a young quarterback. They're putting a lot of emphasis on him having a big year. If he has a down year, those players that, even though they have, won't be that great. Yeah. So, I really think the NFC East can go any way. I'm going to go with the Giants not being the greatest, but there's potential there. A lot of young players, man.
Daniel Jones had that concussion last year, and when he came back from that, he just wasn't right. And everything else going on with the wide receivers being hurt, Barkley being hurt, coaches being terrible. It was just a huge cluster. And, I'm 100% with you guys. I don't think I would draft Daniel Jones as my starter. I would pick a stud, and I'm fine with him as my backup. I'm fine with him sitting there in the backup spot because if the stars align and it looks like they should and could and would, if then I got him. Then I can plug him into place. But I'm not going into week 1. Not right now. A lot can change. I mean, we talk about stuff when we do our Tuesday show, and I'm like, it's Tuesday. Like, I like this guy now. Come and talk to me on Sunday because a lot can change from Tuesday to Sunday. It's August 1st. A lot can change before September 7th or whenever the first game is. So as of right now, round 15, 14, backup quarterback, I'm with you. Daniel Jones is fine.
All right. Thoughts on Antonio Gibson?
Kind of talked about him. They got a bunch of running backs there. He can't stay healthy. I think he's an absolute beast, monster. He's great. I don't think Wentz is an upgrade. Would not surprise me if Heineke is the starter, injury or poor play out of Wentz. I like Gibson. His draft stock probably fell a little bit. He's probably going in like round 4 or 5. I mean, as my RB3 or my flex, I kind of like him. But I could avoid him. I could avoid him and be okay with it as well. He just burned us too bad last year, Rob.
He did, yeah. He definitely. I mean, there was some game. We came back. We came back at the end and just missed it. But J.K. Dobbins worth a flyer or not with Lamar there? Dobbins is hurt, man, still, I feel like. Man.
I like Dobbins. He's hurt. They still have Gus Edwards. They got a bunch of guys there. They're just another one. I mean, these are all guys. These are bench guys, and they're fine. Like these, Dobbins is fine. If you can get Dobbins like the 10th as your 3rd or 4th running back, sure, you scoop them. Unless there's something else you could use. Not against him, but he's not somebody you're going into week 1. Not today. You're not going into week 1 with J.K. Dobbins as your RB1 or 2 or flex. He's not there.
And to be honest, having Mike Davis there now too, that takes J.K. Dobbins was your guy that's going to punch it in. Gus Edwards would be your in between the tackles kind of. I'm sorry, the outside kind of guy. Davis is a big body. They're going to probably want to use him at the goal line.
It's just too many guys. It's just too many guys too many guys, and he's hurt to say, yeah, go after him. I mean, and I'm fine with him, but like as my 4th running back sitting on the bench in case.
All right. Josue, what's up, man? Duty My League has made it to the ship back-to-back and won with Allen as his QB. Would it be worth it to try to steal him from him in the 4th?
I think I'd like Allen in the 4th. I think that was kind of the round that I said, right, Rob? It's like, like if your first 3 picks are solid, if you got 2 really good wide receivers and 1 stud running back, or 2 really good running backs and 1 stud wide receiver, I'm okay taking Allen in the 4th, especially if it's a 12-team league or more, 12 to 14. I'd be okay with that in the 4th because he's going to get you points on the ground. He's going to get you points in the air. So he's a running quarterback. He's what I'm going after, what I want this year. The only real pocket guy that I really would like is Burrow. So yeah, I would steal him in the 4th, but like we sort of talked about this earlier, Josue. That could be a plan, but you've got to write that plan in pencil. Like you can't go in being like I have to, because like what if the 4th round comes around and someone ridiculous is sitting there as your wide receiver 3 or your RB2, and you're just like, yeah, I got to take this guy because I can come back next round and grab Burrow in the 5th. You know what I mean? Because that wide receiver in the 4th might be way more valuable than whatever wide receiver in the 5th. So every draft is different. You can't go in with a strategy of I have to go this round, I have to go that round for this or that. If the player's there, you got to look at everybody who's there. I'm sure you all do this. I hope, I would imagine. I'm not telling you stuff you don't know, but you're sitting in a thing and you can look at everybody's team. Like you got to look at this guy. Okay, this guy's in front of me. He didn't pick a quarterback yet. This guy's in front of me. He's got a quarterback. He's got a quarterback. He's got a quarterback. Okay, so they're probably not taking quarterback, but he might. If he doesn't, I know my quarterback's there. That's what I got to take. It's like look at the other teams as you're drafting. Everything has to be written in pencil. Everything's got to be able to be erased, or if it's in pen, crossed out, and you got to go with the flow. Like I see you saying, I always wait till the 7th or 8th for a QB. What if your team is sick by the 5th round and someone who's ridiculous is sitting out there. You got to take them. Just take them. Then you're done with it, because there's so much value in the 7th and 8th for one running backs and wide receivers that, like, well, I take my quarterback now, and then I could just stock up on these guys that nobody knows about. I could stock up on Wan'Dale Robinsons and people like that in the 7th and 8th. Alligator Algier, Al Borland. I can stock up on him later and grab my quarterback now. So, I mean, that would be my advice. That's how I kind of tackle them. I got an idea of what I want to go, where I want to do it. But it changes. It changes. And last year, it changed for the worst, because I went in thinking for 12 months, 10 months, however long it was, 8 months, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor, and I switched last second. It was the worst mistake I could have ever made. But most of the time, the switches that you make on the fly work well, because you're going with your gut.
Just some guys like A.J. Brown is being drafted around the 4th. Pittman's being drafted around the 4th. I would take those guys as wide receiver 2s. And then hopefully, like we were saying before, Jalen Hurts is sitting out there. Lamar Jackson in the 5th is sitting out there.
That's what I mean. So it's like, yeah, like stealing Allen, I mean, in the 4th is one thing, but you could get Michael Pittman
and Lamar Jackson as your next pick.
Or you could get Josh Allen, and who the heck knows who your 5th round. So it's just you got to weigh that. You can't be like, it's either this quarterback or this. It's 2 picks put together, like Rob just said. It's this wide receiver, this one, or this one, and this one.
Jeremy, want to make a preseason Super Bowl pick?
Yep.
Go for it.
Packers and Bills.
Ooh. I'm going to go with this is a tough one. I don't know. I'm going to say Broncos. And the reason I say that is that I think it's going to follow the same script that Peyton Manning going over there to the Broncos as Russell Wilson going over there to the Broncos. Same kind of team that's built up. A lot of youth, but also a lot of veteran experience. And I would probably say the Rams again.
Okay. Where is the Super Bowl this year? Is it in Oakland or Vegas? I
think it's in Vegas. Yeah. I'll look that.
If we keep going what we do in the past few years, the Raiders are going, but I don't think they are. I think the Packers defense is good enough. I think they're going to be better without Devontae Adams. I said it on the page. When they traded Devontae Adams, I said I love this trade. They lost to the Niners. Lost to the Niners because A-Rod was only throwing the ball to Devontae Adams. He was not looking at any other wide receiver. You get him out of there, now he's going to use the entire field and not just focus on Adams. They lost games because he just focused on Adams. And I think that he'll correct that this year. He's got a ton of young weapons. Their defense is ridiculous, as we saw last year, and I think it's them and the Bills. They might lose to the Bills, but I think it's them and the Bills. That's just my pick.
All right. Is Gabe Davis hype, fact, or fiction?
It's been fact for 2 years, my man. We were waiting for him. He does the same thing every year, the past 2 years. They don't play him. They play some old bum, and then he finally gets in and he kills it. And he did the same thing his second year last year. It's like, why don't you just play him all the time? I mean, we had this discussion on the show every single week. Where's Gabe Davis? Where's Gabe Davis? They finally play him. Murders. I'm glad he's finally in number 2. But then they got another old bum in there. They got Crowder, who's not even that old. Just can't stay really healthy.
All right. Thoughts on Waddle this year with Tyreek there? How about Renfro with Adams there now? You got to mention Adams before, but what about the other situation?
Tua loves Waddle, and Tyreek is Tyreek. Yeah, I would draft Waddle, and I'm fine with Renfro. They got a ton of weapons. I'm fine with them.
There was a post that I had seen before that I answered. It was saying I have to keep 2 picks or I have 2 keepers I have to keep one between 2 guys, and Javonte was in the 6th and Waddle was in the 11th. I went Javonte in the 6th, but Waddle in the 11th. I know his targets will be down, but that's value, man.
Was
That's
that the one
value.
that had Burrow in the 12th? The one that we did here?
No. It was on another page that I just had answered out of the blue. I was just kind of like, ooh, let me get back into fantasy a little bit more and start answering some of these questions.
Yeah, I don't think you could pass up Javonte in the 6th. And the value of Waddle in the 11th is good, but you
Running
can
backs are
get.
gold, man.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Sorry. I was always waiting since you mentioned that before. Could you make a case to draft Allen in the 1st round in a league where you can start 2 QBs? Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
2
100%.
QB leagues, you have to take the quarterback in the 1st round.
Correct.
You probably will take one in the 2nd. And if you don't have 2 quarterbacks after 3 rounds, you probably just screwed yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how it goes. Because the rest of it is junk once you get past it. Because if it's a 12-man league, everybody's got 2, it's 24. You know what I mean? And if 36 picks go by and you don't have 2, you're struggling. You're struggling.
All right. If you took JT, would you have 1? That would make me sick.
My team would have. I mean, I think I made the playoffs, right? Without him, I think I came in 5th.
I think you came in 5th, and then you lost in the 1st round.
Well,
I don't remember.
I don't remember if I lost the 1st. I think I actually might have came in 4th.
Okay.
I think I played in the third place game, right? While somebody else was playing in the championship. I lost, I think, the 2nd round. Either way, I would have had better standing. I would have won more games throughout the year. I mean, I don't know if I would have won. There's too much variables and math involved in that. It's a rabbit hole that I'm moving onward. But yeah, I mean, it was the pick I wanted to make, and I went the wrong way. So
it's not beating him up at all. Not at all. We're a year and a half later. Brady versus Russell Wilson, Super Bowl. It could be. I mean, we usually sit down old men, but again, these guys are still defying, I guess, age. It's a 14-team league. I'm definitely taking 2 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds. Yeah,
I would go the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Just murder everybody's soul.
Yeah, I would even. I know the first 3 rounds is kind of tough, but
listen, that's 28. That's 28 picks. If you wait another round, what's left for quarterbacks? Like, you might very well be starting Josh Rosen. With Jacoby Brissett, which is even worse. Or Mason Rudolph. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm actually in a league, I think it's a 12-man, but the rosters are huge. And it's a super flex. And I remember like last year at one point, I had Tyler Huntley as my 2nd quarterback because Baker was hurt. Russ Wilson was hurt. So it was Derek Carr and Tyler Huntley. And I was lucky enough to scoop him off waivers a week before Lamar got hurt. So I got through those 2 weeks where Lamar was out using Tyler Huntley. But like that's how dire it gets in those Superflex 2 QB leagues. Like, so you gotta stock up. Like people had like 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the first 6 rounds.
Wow.
And that's how you win. You know, you corner the market. And I went. I got a Russell Wilson, Jonathan. That was Jonathan Taylor. I picked him in my first pick. I think it was like pick 8. I picked him, and it was before Answers by Get or before Fantasize Me, where I could 7 at 5. He was my number 1 pick. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if I could pat you on the back, I would, bud.
Okay.
Let's see what else we got. Comeback Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year for offense and defense.
I'd have to think of who the heck was out all year last year. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, do they give a comeback player of the year? for somebody who's just like stunk. I don't know. I mean, like, because like Daniel Jones was terrible and he was out for a little while. It's like, if he's really good, like he could be, but like CMC, I guess, but he was kind of there, and like I don't know if I'm trusting the CMC thing. Like he's ridiculous, but he's kind of made of glass now. They ran him into the ground almost. I am very weary of CMC at this point in my life.
I'm not a big old man fan. He's getting up there in age. Allen Robinson could be somebody of interest. A lot of people are drafting Cooper Kupp. I think Allen Robinson's going to kind of go under the radar. A lot of people aren't high on him. I think he's a little banged up too, if I'm not mistaken. He was freaking good, man.
Oh,
He was freaking good.
oh,
If he, I'm sorry, go. Yeah, I just think he has that ability. I mean, you have Stafford throwing to you now. You have so many other weapons around. He doesn't have to be that number one guy. He's going to be like what you started seeing Hopkins doing when he went to Arizona. I mean, like it's just again that same kind of concept where he can be all over the field and give you so many yards in so many different ways.
I think that Allen Robinson is a great call, if not even for comeback player of the year. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Cooper Kupp is going to be way overdrafted. Like, I love Cooper Kupp. Don't get me wrong. Since day one with Jared Goff, we talked about since season one, Rob. Season one, I was like, Cooper Kupp is the name you need to know, and
That's
it took
friends.
him a few years to finally blow up. But he's always been pretty good, but it took him a few years to blow up. He had a year last year, and I see saying he's a fluke. I don't know if he's a fluke. He is what he is. He's really good, but yes, he's being way overdrafted. Um, Regardless, he's going to draw the coverage, and that is what is going to open up Allen Robinson. And with a quarterback like Stafford, think about what Stafford does with quarterbacks like that. Galladay. I mean, you go back to Kellen Johnson, right? Like, what does he do with wide receivers of that caliber, big, fast, strong on the outside? Nail on the head. I don't know if he's a comeback player because did he really ever leave? I mean, it was just a terrible team, a terrible coach. But I think Allen Robinson is probably number one value pick at this point. Great call.
Yeah, and just thinking off the top of my head, I want to stay away from this running back situation, but Mostert was another person that like kind of popped in my head. He's always banged up, but whenever he does play, he's freaking good. Like
He's on Miami now.
he's on Miami. Him and Chase Edmonds are going to be going. Sony Michel's there too. I mean, there's so many freaking guys that you got to stay away. But Mostert could be that guy. He does a little bit of everything.
This one game where he blows up and everybody blows their fat budget, and then he'll get hurt the next week. He'll come in and do the same exact thing. Chase Edmonds will never get enough burn. Something will happen, and all of a sudden everybody will be picking up my homeboy. What's his face?
Ahmed.
Salvan Ahmed. Ahmed's the guy in Miami. Come and see me week 8 because that's the name I'm throwing out there. I told you this was going to happen.
Wendell and Thibodeau for Rookie of the Years. Dude, Thibodeau wouldn't surprise me at all as far as from a defensive standpoint. Wendell, I'm still a little iffy on Daniel Jones plays a bigger part than Thibodeau is his own monster in itself. CMC comeback player of the year, he said. He's talked about being a fluke for Kupp. Here, I like Etienne almost as much as Javonte this year. Etienne is the best player on that team. Ooh, hot take.
Yeah, I don't think that my boy James Robinson's going anywhere. But Melvin Gordon is, and that's why I would still take Javonte over Etienne. But I'm an Etienne fan. He was in play for us tonight. 2-hour show.
2 hours. We're going to call it. We're going to give you your final thoughts there, sir.
Man, 6 years. We're about to
Sometimes
work on it. Grown a lot. I've certainly gotten wider.
Ditto.
Grayer. fantasy wears on you, but my goodness, have I waited for this moment, right? We wait so long. And I was thinking about it because somebody was texting. They said, I think the Hall of Fame game is August 4th. And like in my head, I'm thinking, man, it's like a month away. And I'm like, oh my God, it's August 1st.
Yeah.
We're here. And we might be back for another show, but my final thoughts are to just sort of wrap it up and go in conjunction. Like, have a plan, but the plan can change. So have a plan B. Go with your gut. Don't make the same mistakes I did. And watch us, like us, follow us, all the places we're at. We want to help you. We're streamlining everything for you this season. Everything will be accessible, recorded, except for the live shows where we will answer your questions. So be sure to tune in. We're glad you guys are with us. Thank you for the support throughout these years, and hopefully this is the best one yet.
Totally agree, guys. Answers by guests. Remember, always like us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. I think I'm going to throw a couple of freebies out there this year. I know we've talked about shirts in the past, but I got a card collection that just keeps on growing, and I'm pretty sure I can give away some decent stuff that, you add a couple followers, maybe I'll give you a nice rookie card of one of your favorite players, something like that. Not too many craziness, but, within reason.
Love it.
All right, guys, that's Answers by Guests.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. It's almost tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have a great tomorrow. We'll probably go live again before the season starts.
I agree. And I'm going to start posting some more stuff, some more updates. That's another goal this year, is to actually get some more information out to you guys. I know we don't post enough. Obviously, life always comes into play, working a lot, as well as kids and stuff like that. But we'll make sure, follow us everywhere. And remember, talk to each other, guys. You guys posting stuff leads to everybody else wanting to post stuff and be able to get their thoughts out there.
Invite your friends to the page. Remember, people that aren't in your league, but you know what? If you're not afraid, invite the people that are in your league. We need more people. We need more voices.
Javonta at 6. Braden, talk to me, bud. I'll take the 2 spot.
2.
All right, guys. Answers by guess. Peace.
All right, everybody. Thanks. See ya.